Okay, good morning everybody. Welcome to XPlane Dedicated, and today is going to be a slightly different day because I've been asked, and I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I was asked if I would do another live stream of Swift, and at first I thought, well, I've done this. Why do they want me to do it again? So what I did was I thought, well, I've done this. So what I did, hang on, let me just turn that down, then you don't hear me twice. I just need to edit this here a second, and then we've got the correct title. Anyway, as I was saying, somebody said to me, could you do a live stream of Swift? And I thought, well, why are they asking me to do that? Because I've already done it once. At least I thought I had. So what I did, I went back and I looked at my video that I'd done, and I kind of think I understand why people want me to do it again. Good morning, holla, welcome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through this as best I can. Okay, so let's get this up first. Okay. So here we go. All right. So the first things first. Okay. First things first. If you're going to download Swift, and Swift is a cross-platform pilot client. In other words, it will connect you to VATSIM. Okay, and it works with P3D. Sorry, yes, it works with P3D, XPlane, and a couple of other simulators as well that I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but that doesn't matter. And it connects you to the VATSIM online network for you to fly online, okay? And it works with, yes, with XPlane and P3D and a couple of others. Right, I've said that before. And this, what it does, it connects you to the VATSIM online network. Now, I've put the link up here. I hope you can see it on screen. I'll leave it there. Take a screenshot of it. I will put the link below the video at the end when I finish going offline. So there's the link. It's datastore.swift-project.org/page/about.php. That's the link that will take you to the Swift website, and this is what it looks like. Now it's very confusing, and one of the reasons why I'm making this video is that I've noticed of late on Facebook groups and what have you, is people saying that it is extremely confusing and they don't know what to do and they don't know where to go, and even if they get it installed, the interface is confusing, etc., etc. I may agree with that. Having used it for a while now, even I still find some elements of the interface confusing, and I think, where am I supposed to go to do this? Or where? So anyway, so this is the page you go to. Okay, now there's 9 boxes here, and what I'm going to say to you is ignore 8 of them for the time being. All right, ignore 8 of them for the time being. What you need is to click on this here where it says download Swift, and it says Swift Pilot Client. Okay, and you click on that and it brings you to this page, which is even worse. This is really incredibly confusing. Okay, so I'm going to go through this slowly. Up at the top you've got the Swift Pilot Client, and at the bottom you've got X Swift Bus. Now you need both of these, especially if you're using XPlane. Okay, now along the top you'll see Linux, Mac, Win32, Win64. Win64 obviously is a 64-bit operating system, and it doesn't matter whether it's Windows 10 or Windows 8. As long as you've got 64-bit operating system, this is the one you choose. Now, this is where it gets confusing. You'll notice over here on the right-hand side, and I hope you can see my cursor, there are 3 boxes. 1, 2, 3. Each one of these has a different version number. Look up here, 90728 treble 15, 1012 and 2216. Okay, It doesn't matter which one you download, although I would go for the latest one, which was 28th of July. There, okay, 28th of July. So that is the top one, and you can download it from any one of these three URLs here. Okay, Data Store Swift Silicon Mine, Download Swift Project.org, and Swift FIR Berlin.de. Okay, so you can download it from any one of those URLs. Go for the top one there, 81115. Okay. Now then, you come down here to SwiftBus, and if you're using XPlane, you need SwiftBus, XSwiftBus, but you must make sure you get the correct one, the correct version number for the Swift that you've downloaded. Okay, so if you download 1115, yeah, Swift, and then you download XSwiftBus 2216, it will not work. It will not work. It'll all go belly up. So, as I said, download 1115 and also download 1115 SwiftBus. Okay. Now, once you've done that, the installation is a little bit. It's not confusing. In fact, it's actually quite straightforward. For the PC and Windows, you just run the installer. The installer is pretty self-explanatory. It allows you to select the installation path required and optional components, and will allow you to launch Swift initial configuration afterwards. It is generally recommended to install Swift into a versioned folder. This allows keeping several versions in parallel, one for testing, one for production, for example. I ignore that bit. Just install it and just run the installer and keep clicking OK, OK, OK. Okay? All right. And then you need to install XSwiftBus, and I'll show you where you need to install that. You need to install XSwiftBus into XPlane Resources Plugins. Okay, where's mine? There it is at the bottom, XSwiftBus. Okay, so you install that into there. The Swift client, you just run the installer. All right. Now then, when you first install Swift, it runs through a number of dialog boxes, and you just keep clicking OK, basically. And some of these dialog boxes, when you read them, they're very complex. There's lots of stuff going on in there. Just keep clicking OK. All right. The one thing I would say to you before you do anything else, any of that, is to make sure that you've got your XPlane CSL folder in the correct place. Okay, and your XPlane CSL folder, which is all your models, need to go into XPlane 11 resources, and there's mine. Okay, there it is, and those are all my aircraft in there. All right. Now, I think I need to adjust that as well. Now, the CSLs are your models, and they can be hellishly confusing. They can be really, really difficult. But if you just follow the installation process, and you've already got that CSL folder with all your aircraft in there, then you should be okay. You should be golden. Just follow it. All right. Okay. I think that is as much as I want to tell you about that. Now there is a manual on here, but it's not very good, I will say. Here we go. Documentation. Swift help. Swift for programmers and nerds. You know, if you're not a programmer, you don't really need to know about this. There's stuff on here that really makes no sense at all. But all you need to know is how to get to the Swift launcher and the mapping tool. Okay? And even that is not easy. So to get to this picture here, right, you can't just do that from clicking on your Swift icon that will appear in your start menu. What you've got to do is you've got to go into XPlane 11 or wherever it is you've installed Swift, and I think mine's on this drive here. No, yes, there it is. There's Swift, okay, which is on my drive there. You double click that and you go into bin, yeah, and as you scroll down you'll see all of these here: Swift Core, Swift Data, Swift GUI and Swift Launcher. On your first installation, the first time you run the installation, Swift Launcher should run anyway, but if you ever get stuck and you want to get back to Swift Launcher, it's there. You can create a desktop shortcut. You can put a shortcut wherever you want, okay, but Swift Launcher is there, so if you ever get stuck after you've installed it and you want to get back to Swift Launcher, it's in that folder, okay, so it's wherever you install Swift, and it's in the bin folder, and it's there. Alright, so let's go back. Let's have a look at a couple of questions here. Justin, I've recently been learning Swift and ATC with Darren for help. It does take a bit of getting used to, but it's a good program. Yes, it is. It is a good program, but it does take an awful lot of getting used to. I have my CSL folder inside custom data folder and works fine. If it works, then fine, okay? Because what it's all about is actually pointing Swift to that folder, okay? So wherever you've got it, if it works, then fine. Don't need that. Let's close that. So here we are. We're in XPlane. I'm not going flying. I'm just going to go through a couple of things. We'll just show you we're at Cardiff anyway. So I'm not going flying. I just want to show you a couple of things. And this, you know, obviously I need the sim open for this. Hang on, I just want to go back a second because Steve Mitchell says he's put it in his custom data folder. So XPlane 11, custom. Now where would you custom data folder be? There it is. Yeah, I suppose, I mean, I've just got all my GNS 430 in there, so I'll leave it there. Maybe I need to move it. Who knows? We'll check. Because one of the problems is that I've found with it is whilst it will show all sorts of models, and what I'm going to do now actually, because I just realized I do need to show you this and I'm in the wrong location, so we'll go to Heathrow. Alright, so we'll just let this load up. One thing I've noticed is whilst it will show lots of models correctly in the correct livery, lots of aircraft in, I have real problems with helicopters. A friend of mine, we fly online together, we've been doing a lot of practice in helicopters. Because I haven't got the model that he has, right, I don't see him. He can see me, obviously, from P3D, but I can't see him. And he's often been, you know, we've been on the ground and he's been right in front of my cockpit window and I can't see him. And that's because there are not an awful lot of models depicted for helicopters available. I will need to sort that out. I will need to sort that out, and I will at some point. Hala is saying you can put the CSL anywhere, it doesn't matter, as long as it can read it, it's not a problem. Okay, that might be the case, but the problem being is that when you do that first install and you locate your CSL file, if you move, CSL folder, if you move the CSL folders to someplace else, when you open Swift, it's still looking for it in the original place, and that is when things get really confusing. And you have to then go into your user app data folder, which is hidden, so you have to unhide it, and look in there to actually remove the reference to the CSL folder where it was looking, and then you have to redo it all again. And that's where it gets really confusing and can be really, really difficult. And that happened to me a few weeks ago. I couldn't get any of my models to show, and I'd forgotten about the app.dat folder, that it would be in the app data folder, and then somebody reminded me. I thought, yes. As soon as they reminded me, I remembered that is exactly where it should be, and where I needed to make sure that XPlane was looking at, if you understand me. I have found that XPilot, that Swift can be problematic in that instance, especially around model matching, but for the main part, I've got all my models, and my CSL folder is where it is, and I point Swift to it and it works. Okay. Have you flown the Hot Start TBM 900? No, I have not. I haven't got the TBM 900. I keep thinking to get it, but I haven't done it as yet. So, Iron Joey, cool name by the way. No, I haven't got the TBM 900. I suspect you have. Steve Mitchell, the thing I like about Swift is that I can run it on a separate PC. Yes, you can run it on a separate PC. I've got a 3-monitor setup here, so it's not a problem for me. I just put it on a separate monitor, so it's on my left-hand monitor, and I run XPlane on my middle monitor, which is taking ages to load up at the moment. And I think this might be because of Washington, the Orbex Washington scenery. Ever since I put that on, it takes simply ages to load up, even though it's not reading that scenery. It's still slowed it all down a bit. Anyway, whilst we look for that, I haven't got anything else on it. What I could do is open Swift, couldn't I, whilst we're waiting for it to load. So I put Swift up here, so let's click on that. And here we go. So it's loading up, and then we'll have a look through. We'll have a look through all the screens and everything. I'll just move it back over here and expand it. So this is what it looks like. This is what they call the Cockpit Window, and the strange thing is about this is what it shows you is your COM1, COM2 transponder, whether you're in standby. Salcal, etc., which works in some places, not all. No, it says I'm using an incorrect version of SwiftBus, and I'm not using an incorrect version of SwiftBus. I am using the correct version. I know I am. Okay, so I'll ignore that, and that's probably come up because XPlane is not actually running. I enjoy the VATSIM beta is good. I'm just waiting for the next event now. You're talking about the new voice codec, aren't you? Yes. And I believe the next event to test it is going to be down in the Philippines, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah. Although what I will say is, I think since putting Swift on, that using Swift with the old voice codec is better. I can hear perfectly well. I'm deaf in one ear, totally deaf in one ear, and I'm having no problems. But you kind of get used to it, and you compensate. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the new voice codec. I listened to a recording the other day of it when they tested it in London, and there was a friend of mine flying, and he's on that recording, and he sounded very different. It was him. I recognised his voice, but he sounded very different from how I normally hear him. But the sound quality was exceptional. If anybody's ever flown with IVAO, they use TeamSpeak, and the voice quality in that is too good, because it's as if the person's sat next to you, and there's no kind of radio suppression or anything like that. So I think whilst IVAO and the TeamSpeak servers are absolutely brilliant, they sound great because it's really, really clear. It's clear as a bell. It's a little bit too clear because you need that kind of radio noise in there, or radio sound, which I think is what the new voice codec for VATSIM is done. Yeah, so Steve Mitchell is agreeing with me that Swift does produce better sound. It may not be the new voice codec, but it is producing better sound. Okay, so we've opened up at Heathrow now. The reason why I wanted to go to Heathrow is so that we can see traffic on the ground. But in the meantime, here we are. So Swift, my dog is crying for some reason. He's waiting for his friend, his next door neighbour, or my next door neighbour's dog. So as I was saying, this is the cockpit window, right? Let me just reopen that again. There we go. Down here, then at the bottom of the screen, you've got Connect, Aircraft, ATC, Audio, Cockpit, Simulator Models, Interpol. I have no idea what Interpol is, I must admit. Text chat, flight plan, log settings, weather users, and then transparency 50%, blah blah, 100%. Ident, radar, mute, max volume. There's a lot of stuff there, and maybe it's not required. Interpol is interpolation. I just realized there it is as well. Right, so validation for XPlane stop. Maybe your models are not accessible. Right, this comes up every time. Validation for XPlane stop.Maybe your models are not accessible. My models are accessible. I know they are. I know they are. So I just tend to ignore that. I'm gonna have to fix that, aren't I, Frank? Frank is my dog, and he's here whinging for some reason. Anyway, let's have a look. So first things first is you need to click on connect. Okay, and what will happen here, if you've got an aircraft already loaded up, which you should have in XPlane, it will populate certain stuff here. So your my ID 895867. Frank, go away, go. 895867. My password, my name obviously, and my home airport. Bear with me 1 second. I'm going to let my dog out because he knows that somebody is in the garden. Hang on. Right, there we are. Sorry about that. So my name and home airport, and then underneath we see the model of the aircraft that I've selected. Okay, so it's telling me I've got the Laminar Research modified by Zebo and Twixtor, etc., etc. My call sign is already in. It should automatically pick up the aircraft IKO, and it can do, but it hasn't at the moment, and it hasn't been doing that for the last few days. But that's not a problem. So Boeing 738, yeah, it's got the type there, and I just need to put in the IKO. Okay, so that's done. Brilliant. And now we can connect, and it's connected, absolutely connected. Okay. It takes a while for aircraft to be populated, so if there are any aircraft on the ground at Heathrow, it will take a minute, 30 seconds to a minute or so for those aircraft to suddenly appear. Okay, we can have a look on the radar, and yes, I mean there's quite a lot of aircraft around. That's a range of 90 nautical miles out there, and there are aircraft on the ground at Heathrow, I believe. Oh no, they're not. There's somebody flying there. It's half a mile away. There's UKV6 Victor. He's on the ground at Heathrow, so we'll have a look at him. And there's somebody there, Bravo 91 Charlie, on the ground, I believe. Yeah, he's a mile away, so he's at the other end of the airport. Okay, so let's have a look. Here we have all the aircraft being populated now, so you can see some British Airways, EasyJet, Jet2, Ryanair, Air France, etc. So those are the aircraft in my range that have connected. Let's see if there's any ATC on. Oh yes, there is. Is that Amsterdam? And EDGG, so that's in Germany. So, no, that's not Amsterdam. Amsterdam is EHAM, isn't it? But you can see there's two controllers there. ATC booked. There's a lot of people booked themselves in for ATC over the next day. So Gatwick, Manchester, Glasgow, Manchester, Amsterdam, and so forth and so on. So you can see there's quite a lot. Here are the users. Here is everybody who's using the network at the moment in my location around me. No text messages. Simulator, this is just telling me, giving me information as to where I am, latitude, longitude, etc., etc. I haven't filed the flight plan, but if I was to file the flight plan, it would be departure airport would be EGLL, flight level would just say 120, and a destination port EGFF. I haven't written a route, but we'll just put direct for the time being, even though that wouldn't be acceptable. And then we send the flight plan. So send, and the flight plan's been sent. Okay. Go back to the cockpit. Simulator, aircraft, where was I up to? Models. Right, these are all the models, but rendered aircraft. So it's saying it's rendered, but clearly it skipped it for some reason. Enabled, so I've got to figure out what's going on here. I really have got to figure out what's going on with my CSL. Although this matched all these aircraft. So let's have a look at Heathrow and see if we can find these aircraft. I think I've got labels on. It's just I leave labels on for these purposes just because it's easier to see where they are. And I can't see at the moment. I think my aircraft are not being rendered. So let's have a look. Show hide labels. This is really strange because yesterday at Bristol everything was fine. I could see aircraft, they were being rendered perfectly fine. Let's have a look. So there's me anyway. There's nobody else around, although there should be. So clearly something's gone wrong with my Swift installation yet again. I think it's going to be those CSL files. I'm going to have to sort that out. Really annoying. Very, very annoying indeed. Although yesterday I had aircraft. There's not one here. Let's just check on the radar again. Radar. Yeah, there's somebody there. I wonder if I could do this. Plug in the Swift bus, follow plane. It was UKV, wasn't it? Nope, he's not there. That's good, isn't it? So I'm going to have to sort that out clearly, which is really annoying and frustrating. Really annoying and frustrating. This guy's like half a mile away. He should be, visible, but I can't see him. So my CSL folder is buggered. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we're not allowed to talk about it, Matt. Apparently. So, going back to Swift then. Rerun the config. Alright, so let's disconnect. Where's my bin? Bin. Big drive, Swift, bin, Swift launcher. It's really annoying when this happens. Really annoying. So let's just make this a bit bigger so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. And that CSL file that you sent me, Emma, I already had it, so you sent it to me before. Once again, there's only like a couple of helicopters in it, weirdly enough. Just scroll through this and make sure. Airbus A320. There we go. Boeing, jets, props. Okay. So that should be working now. So let's connect again. I'll be glad when we get rid of this. I really will. Okay. Let's see if we can see him. No. And I'm pretty loath to reinstall everything. The crazy thing is, this was working last night. As I taxied past an EasyJet at Bristol. So what has happened between now and last night? So we can't even follow aircraft. It's not following anybody. So what does that tell us? Grr. Alright. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to come out and go back in again, I think, and sort all this out. It's annoying. Right, I shall be back.